Welcome to the VelocIT Connect Click2Pay demo for Acumatica. VelocIT Connect is a certified application that extends the stock payment functionality, adding a payment link to sales orders and invoices in Acumatica. We have to configure connection back to our API. We'll provide an API key and a URL. When testing the connection, it will verify everything and pull back the rest of your settings. You have to have VelocIT for Card Connect installed. All of your processing centers you have configured will show, but you have to select a VelocIT payment center for it to work. You then decide whether or not you're going to be doing payment links on sales orders or invoices or both. If you're doing them on a sales order, you must choose whether or not that payment will be coming in as a payment or a prepayment. And that'll be entirely based on your workflow. If your workflow requires that your sales order has a certain minimum set of requirements for the payment to process, you probably want to take a prepayment because a prepayment doesn't have the restrictions that a payment does. But then it will still let the money come in and post against the account properly. Once you have your settings how you want them, you hit save. The import payments process, we'll go over that after we've demoed the actual email processing because that's how the payments will come back in. We're going to come back to sales order and we'll create a new sales order. We'll go ahead and use me again. Let's add in our stock item. And choose something that we're not actually out of quantity on. And let's just say we're ordering for a party. Let's get 100 of them. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to email that sales order out. And you'll notice here under activities, we have an activity now. So we're going to open that up. And it will show us the email that's about to be sent. As you can see in here, there is a link to the payment. And what we're going to do here is go ahead and process this. This is a default template. VelocIT provides the HTML at the time of the initial setup. And now it's sending out the email. That email here inside of Gmail is very similar. Not all email browsers will show the CSS the same way. So here we're seeing the button graphic and whatnot. Here we just see a link. They're the same thing. It's just an example of how each email browser renders the Pay Now button. That has the attachment of the sales order, showing the customer experience. If we were to open that up, you'll see the sales order that we sent with. But that is also included in our payment window, so we're going to go ahead and click on Pay Now. And it opens a new window that has a copy of the sales order. You can see that it's a sales order that is not currently paid. We have $110 that is currently due. You could also look at our activity and see that it was created at this time, and the first time it was viewed was this time. So you can actually see the activity of when people were interacting with the payment link, such as when it was viewed, when it was paid, etc., etc., etc. We also have the ability to see all other related documents to this. So other sales orders and other invoices that have been submitted and what their status is, paid or unpaid. And we can jump to that sales order and choose to pay it if we want to. But we'll go ahead and go back up to the one that we originally sent in. So if we click on our Pay Current Sales Order, we can scroll down and we can see the sales order number or the sales order type, in this case, the sales order number. Your customer number, how much is due, how you want to pay for it, credit card, and if you choose ACH and put in the banking information, we'll put the card into the form, and in this case, we would like it to go ahead and save into Acumatica for future use when we're done and verify we're not a robot. So now it's accepted. We'll close this and we'll see that now the pay button is grayed out. It shows $0 due. Activity will show that it was paid at 12 o'clock and 55 seconds. And if we come back into Acumatica, now we'll go back to the customer side. That's the customer side. And for what it's worth, this is the merchant side. So the merchant gets a copy as well as a customer. And the important thing is that we are including the doc type and the doc number in the email receipt. So you'll have information to verify by hand if you need to, anything that comes through email payment. So our next step inside of Acumatica is to come into import payments. And it will default to today's date. You can make that date range anything you like. Also, it will default to all documents and all statuses, but you can filter it to just invoice or sales order or paid, unpaid, partial, however you want to do it. We also have this set up to be something you can schedule. So you can have it to where it'll automatically process everything every so many minutes. So whether it's every 5 minutes, every hour, every 5 hours, once a day, you can schedule it to whatever you want, where you don't have to come and do this parse process, but you can if you want to. Let's just say, in my case, I have it scheduled to run every 5 minutes. We're going to go ahead and say this is an important payment. We need it now. So we're just going to come and click process so we don't have to wait for the next 5-minute window. We'll process it now. And we got our processing completed. Refresh your screen. We'll now see that it's synced and there's no longer anything due. So we'll come back and look at our sales orders. And we'll look at our payments and we'll see that there's a payment there. It came through as an email payment. And we'll see that it is a credit card payment that natively came through with a process center, Tran ID, and an off number, as well as its status of complete. So if this had to be refunded or anything, you can just void and then void the payment after. And we'll go ahead and do that now just to show. So you void the sales order and then you void the credit card payment, all standard process. And it's just like it's native. And yeah, it does show that it was voided. If we were to do that tomorrow, it would come up as a refunded status. So now, anywhere that you're doing the email invoicing, you have the VelocIT Email Payments Info tab. This is the payment link. So if you decided you didn't want to use the built-in Acumatica emailing process, you can just come here and right-click this and copy it. Open up a new browser, hit paste. Or paste it into an email or into anything else that you're working on. And that link is the same link that would follow if they had gotten the email. It would take you right to their payment page. The modal pop-up for the actual payments itself is something that's on Card Connect server. So we're removing all of your network and all of your systems from PCI scope. And then this is customizable. This whole area, basically the title bar here, is customizable for the merchant. VelocIT is always at the bottom, but this part is configurable with your account. So our next step in this would be the B2B portal. Sales orders are exposable through there, and we made it to where you can do payments within there as well.